everyone, and welcome to the Quitcast. My name is Becca Syme. I am an author success coach, and this channel has been running for long enough now that we are doing a primers episode to explain some of the concepts that we talk about consistently. And I know that I tend to drop phrases like QTP and essential pain and energy pennies. And so we thought, let's do some primers, trying to help everyone kind of catch up to where we are, especially if you haven't taken one of our courses where we describe some of these things, or if you haven't done our individual coaching where we talk about some of these things, or the Patreon. So this is kind of a way to catch everybody up to the same place. They're hopefully going to be short, on the short side. So we're going to do kind of a bigger topic today, and I'm going to see if I can get through it in 10 minutes. Here's hoping. Essential pain is a concept in psychology that is about when pain happens in a situation, and it doesn't have to be physical pain, and it doesn't have to be big pain. It can be very little pain. But when pain happens in a situation where the pain itself is unavoidable, it is literally part of the situation, that pain is essential to the situation. So the example that I use often is if you stub your toe is going to hurt. And the essential pain part is your toe and the table were trying to occupy the same space at the same time. And because they were doing that and the table is not malleable, your toe, which responds, gets injured and hurts. And so the pain itself is essential to that situation. The goal of the pain, in terms of like, why do we feel pain? The goal of the pain is so that we will learn how to avoid the table. And the problem is that we don't always know that the pain is what we're actually feeling, because our bodies have gotten so good at either distracting us from the pain, our brains, or they have gotten good at helping us not feel it. So either numbing, anesthetizing, or doing something that will help us to avoid the pain completely. And avoiding the pain is not a bad thing. It is absolutely normal for us to not want to feel pain. And in fact, there are certain personalities that are more pain averse than others. But I specifically need to explain the fact that when essential pain happens, the pain is elemental. It is necessary to the situation. There is no way not to feel it unless you like physically in that situation with the toe, unless you don't have any nerves in your toe, and then you may not feel it. Or if you have a nerve disorder or something like that. So there are situations where a person could not feel pain if they hit their toe on the table. But when I'm talking about the essential pain, that person has fully functional nerve endings. And so the assumption is that there is pain that's just essential to the situation. And even when people talk to me about this, they're like, well, but what if we just avoid the table altogether? And I'm like, yes, that is definitely the goal of understanding the essential pain, is to try to avoid the pain, or to do what we can to work with or numb the pain out without doing things that are not beneficial for us, especially in this situation. And one of the reasons we talk about essential pain consistently is that boredom is a very small moment of essential pain. When we talk about this in Write Better, Faster, we specifically discuss the concept of cognitive dissonance, which is that moment when things don't fit together. That is essential pain. But not everybody likes the word essential pain because not everyone is comfortable with the word pain, which I understand, because you don't always feel the actual pain in the moment. Sometimes what you feel is the after effects of what has happened. So here's an example. When I am in the manuscript and I feel like I'm stuck and I'm not happy that I'm stuck, I have that moment of cognitive dissonance or essential pain of, ugh, I'm stuck. And then my brain tries to fix that by distracting me from being stuck with something else. And the easiest place for most of us to get distracted is to go to the internet. And so either to go online and look something up, or to go check emails, or sometimes we check ad sales. So not everyone is just going to social media, but because that does happen to a high portion of us, I talk about that as a soothing mechanism for essential pain a lot. But that isn't the only thing we use to soothe our essential pain. And the issue is not that we shouldn't be having essential pain. The issue is that essential pain is everywhere for us. Essential pain happens when someone hits a high number in the store and you hit a low number in the store on your launch day. Essential pain, because you wanted to hit the higher number, assuming that you did have that expectation or that desire, you wanted to do that and then you didn't. And that is a toe stubbing the table moment for you. So either you're going to have to do something about that essential pain consciously, because you may feel that one consciously, or you're going to subconsciously distract yourself, or you're going to make yourself feel bad or whatever. But there are all kinds of responses to the essential pain. The important part about this primer is that essential pain happens almost all the time, almost all day long. We have these little moments of, ugh, I'm bored, or not this again, or I'm so frustrated, or I don't like this, or actual pain, like actual anger, frustration, pain of some kind internally that we consciously are aware of. But so much of it we're unconscious of, and we only see the after effects. So we see the after effects of being bored because we find ourselves on social media. I find myself opening TikTok or YouTube or Facebook or Instagram because I was bored or because I had a moment of undistracted time. And rather than allow myself to have those moments of undistracted time, my brain is so used to filling that with something that it just automatically goes looking for the dopamine. And the key piece of essential pain is that there's a touch, right? Like I hit the table with the toe. Ouch, it hurts. That's the essential pain. And then pull back, like I want to not be in that place anymore of the actual pain. I want to not cause more pain. And then soothing. Those are kind of the 4 steps to the way that essential pain works. And the reason we talk about this so consistently is that most of us are not aware when these essential pain moments are happening, the small ones, right? We're not conscious of it. We just see ourselves distracting from the essential pain, from the cognitive dissonance. And then we deal with the distraction by guilting ourselves instead of acknowledging that this is just how my brain deals with pain. And either I need to find a way to accept that pain and acknowledge it, which is part of why we talk about like thinking is working and procrastination is okay and things like that, so that we don't guilt ourselves for doing things that are natural for us to do, or we have to find a way to avoid the pain in the first place. And some of us do that by like using the stuck list cards or by calling a friend, or if there's a desire to not be on social media because I want to get some of my productivity back, then I don't go on social media first thing in the morning, because once I open that loop, then it starts to loop and loop and loop and loop all day. And I don't have as much control if I start early. And again, this is part of why we encourage people to do things like wait as long as possible to go on social media or to do social media detoxes, because it is the most common and easy way for most of us to soothe our essential pain. So there's those small essential pain moments, and then there's the bigger ones, like the not hitting high in the store, or having a disappointment, or getting something, not getting something that we wanted to get, or having an expectation that is not met. And this is the fundamentally important part when we talk about the bigger essential pain, is that if I don't change my expectations, or if I don't release the need for the expectations to happen the way that they do, because I can hold an expectation lightly and hope for it and want it to happen and put a lot of work into it, but also be okay if it doesn't happen, because I know that it's just a learning experience and I'll continue to move on forward through my career. And that kind of essential pain management is still fine. Like there's no reason to not have expectations at all. It's when the expectations aren't met and then we sit inside of that essential pain that is the thing that we want to keep ourselves from. And a lot of what we try to do when we look in coaching, when we look at these essential pain moments that are bigger is we try to deconstruct the expectation to a point where I'm still going to be okay though if this doesn't happen. And on a side note, this is one of the reasons that I encourage people, if you haven't listened to Claire Taylor talk about the Enneagram before, because the Enneagram has such an incisive way of talking about the fear that we have and the way that fear holds us hostage, that it is so helpful to be able to understand those underlying fears that I have that are attacking my stability, and especially that are attacking my ability to handle essential pain effectively. Because essential pain is not avoidable. There is going to be essential pain. There's going to be disappointment. There's going to be cognitive dissonance. There's going to be boredom. There's going to be a lack of success. Those things are going to happen. And the way we build resilience for a long time author career in order to be able to be authors for life is we have to build our resilience. It's one of the pillars of having an author career for your lifetime. And the way we try to build resilience, especially when we're doing live coaching and one-on-one coaching and in our courses, because we do coaching in the courses as well, is we try to help us understand when expectations are helping us and when they are not helping us. When is that particular thing causing me to spiral and be in an unhelpful place, an unhealthy place? And when is it helpful for me? And some of that is about knowing your personality. Again, we've talked about author alignment in these primers before and about strengths. Some of it is about understanding the reality of the industry and the rules that we actually play by rather than the rules that we wish that we could play by or think we should be able to play by. But so much of dealing with essential pain is just understanding that idea that there is pain that is essential to a situation, and it can be very small and you can be unconscious of it sometimes, but it's happening and you are seeing the after effects of it. And one of the things we try to do in those small essential pain moments, especially in boredom moments, is to recognize that my brain is just looking for a way to not feel the pain of being bored, but it will be okay if I don't gratify that impulse. I will still be able to function if I make myself sit in that moment of being stuck, and instead of jumping away from it and trying to soothe it with dopamine, I deal with the stuckness and stay in the moment and stay in the manuscript and figure it out. And this is part of why we made the stuck list deck, right? And the author stuck list book is basically just the stuck list deck, is to try to help us have a tool to reach for. So I don't feel like I have to just reach for social media or numbers or to go off and do small tasks when I am trying to write, and instead allow me to stay with the writing for longer because I understand it's just essential pain. It's not gonna kill me. Like, it's fine. And I can stay inside of it and work my way through this being stuck, or I can work my way through this frustration or boredom. So that's the primer on essential pain. It is very quick. It was a little more than 10 minutes. I apologize for that, but it still is just touching on the surface. And so we talk about essential pain in many of our QTP episodes, especially in the early ones where we were talking about social media and productivity. So if you want to hear more about it, go there. We also talk about it in our Write Better Faster course, where we are trying to help mitigate the after effects of dealing with essential pain. And the Write Better Faster is not necessarily a productivity class, although it can be, but it's about author alignment and about trying to make sure that we are aligned for our best possible author life outcome, which is, again, that's just generally what we try to do around here. So I hope this primer has been helpful, and I will see you on the next episode of the Quitcast. Bye, everybody.